What's happening, everybody? This is Theros International, and we are back after an extended international break. We did not do a live show last week, but we are here after, I guess it's like almost 2 weeks now. And we are excited to chat with all of you before we get started. Costa, Marcial, how are we doing today?
I've seen better days, to be honest.
Not wrong. Costa?
Draws against minors Greek club is the worst thing you can have as an Olympiacos fan, probably.
I'm okay, mate. Looking forward to an interesting pod today. It always seems to be more interesting when we have a bad result like that. Before we get started, we haven't gone live for a while during international break. A lot of things happened. First and foremost, 31-year-old human being, then football player, tragically lost his life, and we haven't said anything about that. I mean, at least live on this podcast. So I think we want to send our heartfelt condolences to George Baldock's family. On Sunday, the last game we played in the league against Panathinaikos, he looked pretty good out there at right back against us, and then 2-3 days later he's gone from this life. Just shows there are more important things in life than football, and I just wanted to say from our side, like, express our condolences, and then in terms of the national team itself, it was a fantastic international break. I've been very down about the national team for years now. I think the performances against England and Ireland were absolutely fantastic. It's crazy how tragedy can also just bring people together like that and galvanize a squad of football players and a whole nation, people that turned up to the stadium filled out the Karaiskaki against Ireland, and massive respect to the players for going out and playing against England. They had to go out and play. They did it, and they did they did themselves proud. I'm sure wherever George Baldock is, he'd be proud too. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I think I couldn't have said it better myself, Costa. So it has been a little bit, so have to at least mention it because we haven't been live since everything occurred. And then, of course, guys, before we start talking about the game today, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're tuning in now. If you're one of the newer listeners and this is your first time, we see some of our usuals that are here. So thank you guys for continuing to follow. It's fantastic. We appreciate every single one of you. Every engagement helps us find even more red and white fans. I mean, we're growing all over the place. We're finding so many more people, both Greek, non-Greek, both Olympiacos fans and non-Olympiacos fans that are joining us for the ride. And every additional engagement helps us find even more. So we're extremely thankful for that. Continue to do so. Continue to help us grow this channel. Continue to help us grow the Red and White Fever. And you can also support us on Patreon. Patreon, we have the WhatsApp group that we talk about a lot. Always somebody that will engage with you no matter the time of the day, whether it's sun up or sundown. You can get extra content as well. We do some fun things. I want to do one of those things like that TikTok with the French woman. We'll do that with Martial, have him pronounce like random English words. That'll be a fun one to do. But you can get extra content with Patreon, help support us as we try to do more things to make the experience a little bit better and to find ways to increase the level of content that we provide for you. So support us there. Thank you also to everybody that voted for us. The Football Content Awards are coming up next month. The voting was due October 13th. So thank you, everyone. There was a lot of you that voted. We're super appreciative. Not just Olympiacos fans, too. I mean, we had people that were fans of other clubs voting for us just to see a Greek team and to see a Greek platform just there in the global stage. So thank you, everybody. We're going to see what happens. Now we're going to see if we're going to make it not just from finalists, but in maybe one of the top 3 positions. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we do well, but thank you, everybody, for your support. Now, let's get moving. and we're going to talk about this match today. We're going to talk about what happened. An extremely disappointing match, extremely, in my opinion, embarrassing match, especially when you're up to nothing. Olympiacos had not dropped points to Levadiakos at the Karaiskaki since 1993. That was the last time we dropped points to Levadiakos at home. Over 30 years. And then we dropped points today at home at the Karaiskaki. It also had been since 2021 since we have allowed Levadiakos to score against us. So over 3 years, Levadiakos had not scored a goal against us. We let them score against us at home today. Two goals. Levadiakos was arguably the worst team in the league. I think they were last place before. And, you know, they had a really terrible 4 goals against record today. Things started off well. You know, through the first 30, 35, maybe we can even say 40 minutes, things looked pretty good. But then the players switch turned after they went up 2-0, and we invited pressure. Andreas Doi at the end of the half had a howler. 2 really, really bad decisions. Right before the goal, there was a possession that Levadiakos had where they almost scored. And in part, it was due to Doi with a really, really weird decision-making on how he was going to challenge the ball. The fault wasn't just with him there, but then next time goes in, he gives up, of course, the penalty, and we go down 2-1, or our lead is cut in half, 2-1. Then in the second goal that we let in the second half, David Carmo, no idea what he's doing. He's guarding nobody on a cross. Ortega's sucked too far in, guarding what should be Carmo's man, and the guy behind him is wide open. And Levadiakos score the second goal against us. So we never really could get the dominance back after that. We did have plenty of opportunities we created, but we bottled the lead. That shouldn't have happened. We had opportunities. We should have put our foot on the gas and scored more. We didn't. And we let Levadiakos back in this game. And Costa, Martial, before I get your opinions kind of overall on what happened with the match, I have seen some really, really, really bad takes, not just in our Patreon group, but on social media. There have been some really horrible takes by people that have taken the wrong message from this game. There are some major concerns about certain decisions that were made, issues, with certain players, with certain tactics. And this was a match also where during the international break, we are hearing about Yazici. We are hearing about Bakulas. Bakulas has been in excellent form. We were hearing in training, he's doing very well. Yazici had scored a goal in the friendly that happened during the international break, but yet neither one of those players was on the squad list. Adroutsos finds his way on the squad list. Adroutsos comes in as a substitution today. Veld gets an assist today. And yet there's a lot of people that are blaming Veld. There's people that are getting upset with Adroutsos for this game. But fingers are being pointed all over the place. But for some reason, people are refusing to point the finger at certain center backs of ours and certain coach at certain decisions that he's made. So a lot of really bad takes today. And the wrong message, I think people are taking from what we saw in this game today. Martial, give us your first opinions on the match today.
I totally agree with what you say at the end of your speech. I still don't understand what really happened today, because as soon as Chiquinho scored that goal, I was 100% sure we would win easily that game, like 3-0, 4-0, probably, with players being able to even rest before Europe. And the fact that we ate those 2 goals is very concerning for me, but not for the reason people probably have in mind right now. One is the center back. If Endoy keeps playing as a center back, it's going to be a major problem for the club. because we currently have Biancon and Koutsiris if we want to have right-footed centre backs, and we do have Pirola as a left-footed centre back that could play. It's LEVADIAKOS. If you tell me we can play two left-footed centre backs against LEVADIAKOS, I'm going to have an issue with that. Not mentioning the fact that we paid 3 million to have Pirola that just played with Italy 121 team no later than the international break.
Captain, he's their captain too.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you frustrate a player, by the way, because given how Carmo is playing right now, it's gonna be an issue sooner or later. Also, the main frustration I have, but it's something that I've said many times on the pod, is why would a coach do 5 substitutions with the squad he had today? You're winning 2-0. You don't have to make 5 substitutions. If it's to throw Androutsos for Velde, just keep Velde for 90 minutes. I don't know. Do you think that 5 subs were needed today? To me, it was just 3 maybe, with Garcia and Androutsos should have remained on the bench. We weren't playing nicely after the 2-2, but at least do not change 5 players. It's too much. Like 5 players, it's basically half of the team. And I still don't understand why coaches would do 5 subs like that every time.
Costa.
Apart of that, I don't have anything else.
Sorry, Marcel.
It's such a weird game.
Costa.
No, look, I think it was a dream start to the game. That's what you want in a game like this, where you're going to face a team that just parks the bus. We know these types of games. We normally struggle, especially with this coach, because this coach, people should know that this isn't a coach that plays possession-based, expansive, beautiful football. If that's what you think about Mendilibar, or if you're expecting that, you're going to be more disappointed than you are right now. This coach knows how to do one thing, what we do so well in Europe. Play against teams that play football. We press them, organized high press, gegenpress for some, counter press, and take advantage of the forced errors that we make the opposition enter into. That's how we score goals. That's how Mendilibar's Olympiacos team scores goals. At the end of the game today, who could you look to make something happen? Probably one player on the pitch. And the pressure was on Mousakitis, a 17-year-old lad. The pressure was all on him to try and pull the strings. If we're not successful when we're employing the high press, we resort to cross after cross after cross after cross. And we've ended the game with 3 centre forwards. We've ended the game, to be specific, with El Kabi as our centre forward, Kostulas as our left centre forward, Yaremchuk on as well, and Sakis Androutsos as our right winger. Now, we can have a conversation about like whose fault it is today. Is it the players? Is it the manager? I think it's both, but let's have that conversation. It's really, really disappointing today, going from a dream start to what turned into a nightmare in a game that on paper we should have easily won, and in the end we drew, but it feels
We lost Costa.
Yeah, it looks like we just lost Costa.
As we lost the victory today.
Yeah.
sorry, I don't know why that happened. I'm back.
Finish your thought, Costa.
Someone doesn't like me today. Mate, it feels like a loss today, but it's a draw. And if you look at the table, we're now, what is it? Two teams with 17 points, and then there's us with 15, tied with I can't remember. I think it's AEK. I think we're tied with AEK in third and fourth with 15 points. So, like, look, it's still very early, but there are worrying signals there. We have a record of 4 wins, 3 draws, and a loss. Today's defeat is the worst result of the season by far for me.
Yeah.
It's worse than Panetolikos. It's the worst game of the season because you're up 2-0. And
Exactly.
we can criticize the manager and his lack of ideas. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Can he change his game plan? Can he adapt to make Olympiacos play the way that we need to play in Greece? Is Yazici going to have such a big impact when the coach decides that he's at the right level to compete? It's a question today. It's like, what? The guy wasn't ready for 20 minutes against Levadiakos? That's a question that I have.
Right.
What made him pick Androutsos over Papacanelos? Papacanelos played with the under-19s, but then the decision is that Androutsos is higher in the pecking order than Papacanelos. All of a sudden,
Right, on the wing.
A guy that we decided a year and a half ago wasn't good enough to play for us now all of a sudden is better than one of the hottest prospects in our academy. Like, what was the thought process there? Like, there are so many things to talk about, but my last point is that you don't need to be Pep Guardiola on the bench to win this game. It's the players out on the pitch that win this game. Like, you can't play 25 minutes of football and then switch off. We barely even got out of third gear scoring the 2 goals. It was, we got lucky with the first goal. It was marginal. It was onside. You're 1-0 up. You get a penalty, 2-0. It's like, okay, but they never got out of third gear to score those 2 goals. And then they just thought they would walk it. It's like, no. Yep. A game ends when the referee blows after 90 minutes and stoppage time, not after 25 minutes of football. So you can blame Mendilibar, but there's equal blame on the players today as well.
Well, look, Costa, we brought up the banner because there's a lot of discussions where people keep bringing up the creativity issues, and it lends itself to what a lot of people the 2 scapegoats, I'll call them, of the game today. Velde and Androutsos are taking all sorts of abuse right now, all sorts of social media and in WhatsApp. And my response to these people is, if Christopher Velde is your reason why we lost today, you missed everything in this game. You did not watch the game. Christopher Velde ended with an assist today. He in the first minute of the game, he gets you. Now, people were upset with certain dribbles he had. He had a couple of shot opportunities. But if Androutsos and Velde are your problems for today, you missed the root cause of what we suffered from today. Creativity was not our problem today. For the first half, up until that 40th minute, we can even say, at the very least 30 minutes, maybe 35, you can stretch it to 40th. We were untouchable. There were opportunities we had that we couldn't score. Levadiakos could barely get a sniff on our goal. Their first sniff of an opportunity was when that first attack happened, where Doi makes the really crappy mistake and we almost concede a goal. They shoot it wide. That was their first, and that was 40 minutes in. Over 40 minutes in. Then we concede the goal after that in extra time of the first half. So that first half showed that we had more than enough quality and we knew what exactly we're doing. The problem begins when Andreas Doi does what Andreas Doi normally does, and he makes a really stupid fucking decision, like he did the play before, and then everything cascaded. The fact that we have to continue to talk about Andreas Doi playing at the center back and giving all of us scares, heart attacks, because he continues to make stupid decisions all the time is getting really annoying. If there's one criticism I have of Jose Luis Mendilibar, and there are a few, I really dislike his overmanagement and overcomplication of the center back position. We've seen plenty of evidence this year. Andreas Doi has more value for us as a midfielder than a center back. He is a liability for us as a center back. And today, he is the domino that led to the loss. Carmo's another one that's been disappointing since his return. He's not playing like a player that's worth 10 million euros. He was in no man's land for the first goal. He was in no man's land for the first opportunity that before the goal, where Ndoye was faced with a decision and he makes a terrible decision. Where was Carmo there? And then in the second goal, who is David Carmo marking? Why is he sucked so inside? Are Ortega and him not communicating about the players that are running in? What's going on there? If you are going to pick players that are the problem, it was Carmo and Ndoye today that led directly to those individual chances that we got scored on, not Velde and Adroutsos. Adroutsos didn't pick himself to play in the game. Mendilibar picked him, and Adroutsos did fine. He had a couple of opportunities. He had a couple of balls played in. You know, you can't get super upset with that. Christopher Velde, I understand what some people are saying about him, but he gets you an assist today, right off the bat. Those two weren't the problems today. There were other problems. And we'll talk about Mendilibar in a little bit. But for me, it's unacceptable what I was seeing and in the stadium. Like anytime Velde would get on the ball, before he's even lost the ball, I could see the opposite stand screaming at him. It's unacceptable to me. I get some of you are frustrated, but you guys are ready to blame Christopher Velde for everything already. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm sick of Podence. I'm sick of hearing about Fortunis. They're not here. They're not. They took the money in Saudi Arabia. That's it. Stop blaming Veld for them not being here. Veld is Veld. He got you an assist today. Could he have done more? Probably. But the abuse that he's taking is unacceptable. Some of you need to watch the game. Where's the abuse for Chiquinho? He scored a goal, but he had a shit ton of mistakes today. Where's the abuse for him? Very inconsistent with who we like to abuse on this team as fans. And it's some of you that are Olympiacos fans, and I know it's not everybody that it's our audience, but some people do not deserve to be Olympiacos fans. Some of you show up when we're doing well, and when things are bad, all you want to do is complain, and you don't even want to come to the stadium and support the players. That's disgusting to me. And I'm really ticked off with this whole situation because Veld does not deserve the abuse he's been getting today.
I don't think anybody that's out there on the pitch deserves the abuse that they get sometimes. I can understand that there's heavy disappointment in Velde because of what we saw during the summer. Because what we saw from him in the friendlies is a different player. Is like the season started, he got the goal against Galicia, and even in the Galicia game, he was getting locked down. He had a difficult time, and you know, to your credit, Ari, you said that he would have trouble facing close defenses in your scout report. But it looks like a different player, and in that sense, I understand the frustration. I share frustration from of the fan base, but I agree. Like when you feel that Garayskaki is just bubbling and just ready to start hurling abuse at a player before he's even done something. You just think, you know, what does that do to a player's confidence? And this player absolutely needs that confidence and that support from the fan base. And that's something where I think we can be better as a fan base. But, you know, you're not going to change Olympiacos fans being one of the most demanding fan bases in certainly in Greece, if not the whole world. That's something hard to change. Other than that, do I think Androutsos was bad? Mate, my comment about Androutsos is just Olympiacos isn't a charity.
No, it's not.
Olympiacos isn't a charity, mate. It's like we're not a foundation for players that couldn't find the club during the summer. And, you know, I think it's, you know, I mentioned about the manager. So the manager thinks that Androutsos is higher in the pecking order than Papaganelos. He thinks that Yazici isn't ready to play. So the problem isn't Androutsos in this respect. The problem isn't Androutsos. You can have a whole different discussion about Androutsos, how talented he was when he first came up onto the scene as a striker in our academy that turned into a number 10 under Paolo Bento, that then turned into a central midfielder that was deployed as a winger as well, and then a right back. The only position Androutsos hasn't played is as a goalkeeper, probably. Is he a player that the club mismanaged in terms of his talent and like his development? Yeah, probably fair to say. But I don't think it's really worth. I mean, he's getting all the shit dumped on him today, and I think that's unfair. But at the same time, like, we're not a charity. He's not like we decided at the beginning of the season that he's not good enough. He didn't go to preseason, and then a few weeks ago he's back in training because he's an academy player, and we look after. No, it's like, mate, release him. He's a free agent during the month of September or whatever he was. Like, just, I don't know, go and find a contract in Australia, go and play in India, do something. It's like, no. That's my 2 cents on the Androutsos situation.
Martial, do you have a comment on that? Because I do want to build on what Costa's talking about in a second.
I think the Androutsos example probably shows that, at least to me, that Mendilibar, it's not that it has lost the plot, but I think it's basically lost because what we've seen during the preseason was totally different. And I don't understand if his choices are impossible to understand, like the center back choices, like Ortega playing basically every game except the Atromitos one, in which Apostolopoulos started but did not finish the game. Is subbing fullbacks every time in every game. Costinha came in today, and I don't understand why would you sub a right back like that when you need to score a goal. Maybe it can work once, but I don't think it's useful. The tactic of Mendilibar, like when Yaremchuk and Kostulas comes in at the same time, what's the real lineup of the team? I don't understand. The 5 subs I've spoken of it already, and I think he needs to understand what it takes to win the Super League. If he decides directly or indirectly to prioritize Europe, we are not going to win the Super League. It's that easy, because I don't think the competition is that better, given what I've seen about AEK, PAOK, and Panathinaikos since then. But given the playoff system, we're gonna end up dropping massive amount of points. If it's, I don't understand. Androutsos coming in, I mean, I don't blame the guy. I love Androutsos as a human being first. I liked him as a player years ago. I think he's done. We all agree on that. And I'm in disbelief, honestly, over Mendilibar. And I might have said that before, that I don't believe this coach is good enough to win the league. But you can't cheat with football. You can't disrespect Greek Superleague, no matter how shit the league can be. And I draw a massive line with a coach like Mendilibar that was a miracle for Olympiacos, and someone like Michel that only were good in Olympiacos because he knows exactly what you have to do with Olympiacos. You have to basically field the best team you have, integrate youngsters on it, and he knows the recipe. He knows that recipe at least. And Mendilibar probably needs to have phone call with Michel about the Super League, because Mendilibar right now is stuck in the Super League and is getting exposed by coaches like Mantios, by Papadopoulos today. And I find it worrying because the subs LEVADIAKOS made in the first half basically changed the game. Like Zini, he came in and he was almost the best player on the pitch. Yeah. And the fact that Mendilibar can't respond to that when he's drawing or when he's losing a game in the Greek league shows that, to me at least, he doesn't have any plan B for the league. I mean, only for the league. Not mentioning the set pieces, because does he really train set pieces during the week? That's another question I have.
Well, and here's the question, because Martial, you kind of transitioned perfectly into what I wanted to talk about, which was Mendilibar's share of what went on today, because he made the choice to bring Danny Garcia and Stamenic instead of bringing Yazici and Bakulas, or even including Gelson Martins. Now, we found out later after the game that Retsos had another small knock in training. Would have been nice to know that before the match, but whatever, I digress. Gelson Martins, okay, we know how he is, and with load management, okay, you're prioritizing Malmo, so you don't want to bring him because you want to save him for there. Fine. I can respect that because it's LEVADIAKOS. We should have enough firepower. But you bring along Danny Garcia. You make the choice to bring Danny Garcia and Stamenic, who have not had great seasons with us so far. And instead of a young, hungry player like Bakulas, who would have given you great energy today, and Yazici, who is the creative option you just brought in because you're not happy with some of the other creative options you had. Willian wasn't included. He was supposed to be healthy. Everybody was supposed to be healthy today. And it's just really questionable behavior to me. A lot of people don't want to question Mendilibar's choices because he won us the European Conference League. And I have an issue with that because he makes mistakes. Mendilibar makes mistakes. And it's okay for us to say that he made those mistakes today. He made very questionable decisions today. And these aren't the first times we're seeing them. He's made questionable decisions in the league. Martial, you brought up before. I think it was Costa that said in the WhatsApp chat, was talking about like Silaidopoulos should be making the decisions in the Greek league, and then we should let Mendilibar do Europe. Silaidopoulos is there on the coaching staff with him. And what is the advice that he's giving? Is Mendilibar listening to him in any way, shape, or form? I mean, I don't understand what's going on here.
That's a good question.
Because we were supposed. Silaidopoulos is on that coaching staff because of what he did for us, because of what he's done with our youth. What's going on here? What role is he playing? Surely he had opinions. Surely he had opinions on the game today, did he not? It's one of those things. Something's going on there, and the use of Adroutsos. If I'm being a conspiracy theorist, Costa, Martial, that could be seen as a message, right? Or is the use of Adroutsos not something Mendilibar wants? If I'm being a conspiracy theorist, the Mendilibar using Adroutsos is a signal that he doesn't like the other options that he had, especially at the wing. Papacanelos, we were hearing about before this too, before the international break. Oh, Papacanelos is going to be the next Mouzakitis. He's going to be used next. It's his turn. There's a complete disconnect between the information we're getting and what Mendilibar is doing. There's something else going on that we don't know about, and it's really frustrating.
Mendilibar can't control what the press goes out and writes and says. Like, we've heard it all before. Bakulas is next in line. Papacanelos is next in line. Look, everyone's fit. Look, I lost my track of thought now. It's not the first time we've seen just some questionable choices from the manager. And, we talked at the beginning about how we never came out of third gear, and it was a lethargic performance after the second goal. So, mate, the team was asleep. The players out there, they were sleeping. The goal was cooking. After going 2-0 up, it was cooking, the 2-1. There were multiple incidents before the penalty. Like, Carmo's stuck on the halfway line, and like the back four line is all over the place. Ndoye with his rash tackles. What about Sergio Oliveira today? Really? Not bringing him on at all? But when he has been used, he's been used as a 10.
Yeah.
Because he's known for his pressing. That really mystifies me.
Yeah.
Because we know what role Mendilibar has for the number 10 or the second striker. It worked with Kostoulas against Panathinaikos, and a lot of people questioned me when I said that Kostoulas should have started in behind El Kabi. It's like, oh, you can't play Kostoulas as a 10. We don't play with a 10.
Exactly.
We play with a player behind the striker that's a second striker that presses the opponent. That's why Kostoulas worked against Panathinaikos when he came on, and he was a revelation to many of you. But the way that Sergio Oliveira has been used is very puzzling. Not really seen him in a central midfield role as a number 8, as somebody that can make something happen from a deeper role. You can't ask Sergio Oliveira to do what Chiquinho does. You can't ask Sergio Oliveira to do what Kostoulas did against Panathinaikos. He can't play that role. Are we ever going to see him as a number 8? He put Danny Garcia on instead today. That's troubling to me that he didn't come on. And Marshall, you talked about the five subs. I mean, it was 2-2 when he made the subs. So he has to do something. Who does he have on the bench? Like all his wing options are done. The only thing he could have done today instead would have been to put Rodine at right wing and played him the whole game, and played Castinho at right back, or played Androusos at right back if you really wanted to.
Yeah, but my question is why, when you have no solution, at least on the bench, almost like you had basically no solutions, why a poor solution has to be better than no solution at all? Like, it's a matter of probability in there. Like, keeping Velde on the pitch for the entire game might have more chances to end up in Velde being decisive than throwing Costinha and Androusos.
I agree. For that I agree.
But it's when you don't have solutions, don't make subs. But I think it's an overall issue with football players that in modern football not being able supposedly to play 90 minutes. I don't understand that bullshit. It's their job. But the 5 subs rule made them less used to play 90 minutes. So we think that, okay, Velde will be good for only half an hour. I don't know, man. Just keep it on the pitch.
Look,
unless you can throw Kostoulas, I'm okay with that. But
yeah.
Costinha, Garcia, and Androusos, no.
Yeah, here's the thing that's puzzling to me, right? This is the exact type of context in this game that Sergio Oliveira would have had success in. We had 40 touches in the penalty area, right? We were getting shots in around, peppered all over the place. Who's the player that we brought in that can take shots in almost anywhere around that penalty area when you get loose balls and get balls around there? Who can help you distribute in those situations when you're on the front foot? Sergio Oliveira can. We brought him in for a context like this, and we didn't even use him. We subbed on Yaremchuk at the end. So that and that's another thing. Yaremchuk has never played well with El Kabi. We've talked about this. It's so and then you brought him, Kostoulas, and El Kabi on at the same time. Costa brought that up earlier. Nothing.
But that just shows that you don't have. There's no plan. It's what we said at the beginning of the show. Sorry to cut you off. So when the press isn't working, distribute the ball out to the wings and cross it into the box and hope somebody gets on the end of it. And El Kabi nearly did after, I think it was a Masouras cross from the left.
Yeah,
a free header, and he's gone slightly over the bar, and that could have won the game, but it didn't. That's not the way we want to play. That's not the way we want to play. Just like spamming the ball into the penalty box. Just cross.
You mentioned.
Oh, go ahead.
Go on. No, go on.
No, and I was saying, but like, if that's what's happening, and you see you're getting the ball in these opportunities in and around there, why are you throwing Yaremchuk on? You need somebody who's going to take some of those chances to help stretch the defense for you. Oliveira was the only other player on the bench we had that could do that. If you were going to change El Kabi for Yaremchuk, I would have been fine with that. But I just don't understand. I didn't understand the decision making. And Danny Garcia, it's about as useless of a sub as you could have made. Offered nothing from me.
The issue I have is that it's a mix of different problems, because one of the problems I can see is that Mendilibar clearly does not trust some players he has now. Like someone that I don't think he likes Yaremchuk at all. And also we're turning into a team that relies probably too much on El Kabi being able to score. Because I'm seeing comments about, hey, El Kabi was poor today, El Kabi was invisible. And it reminds me a little bit when we were relying on Fortunis to win us game in the Greek League. And I was hoping that after the European trophy, it would be done with Olympiacos relying on one player offensively to win games, even if we did rely a lot on El Kabi to win the Conference League. But if you don't feed him properly, he won't do wonders. Like I can't blame the guy, because he's trying to press every time. And I think he's one of the few players that understands what it takes to win the Greek Superleague. You have to be playing 100% from the beginning to the end of the game against Levadiakos, against Kalitea, against Panathinaikos, against Naxos, local club with Manolas on it. It doesn't matter who you play against. You have to play 100%. And maybe the point is that we did not assess the Conference League as we should. Psychologically, a lot of players peaked at that point, and not only about football, but mentally, physically, they all peaked at that time. And we all know what it takes for those players to peak at the very best moment. And you have time in which it will be more difficult for you to play 100%, because it's an home game against Levadiakos. You're leading 2-0. The job is almost done. And I was expecting more from Mendilibar on that side, because he won the Europa League before with Sevilla.
Right.
He knows what happens right after a big title for a club that is probably not prepared to that. But sometimes you just look at his choices and you just ask yourself, did this guy has quit his job already? Like it has no sense. You have to take the Greek League more seriously than that.
No, and that's been his problem, right? The big question we had at the summer, and people really did not like us when we talked about this. The question for us was, can Mendilibar not only win the league for us, but manage that alongside Europe? Because he hasn't really done that in his career. He's a very good tournament coach, but he is coaching a club where success is demanded. It is a demand that you have to win the title. And that's not something he's used to. He's always played for clubs that are underdogs, and he's approached them that way. And he has not competently been able to figure out how to approach these Super League games as the favorite. How do you approach this game as a team that's supposed to win? And we get exposed by that. So it's you know, there's so many, you know, here we go. We have somebody complaining about the fact that it's not Mendilibar. We lost key players. The transfers are a disaster. There's no quality players. So this was, you know, it's not Mendilibar's fault. And I disagree. We have quality. We have depth. It's there. It hasn't been used. Now we can make arguments and talk about whether certain players are fit or not. I think that's absolutely valid. But Mendilibar does not get off scot-free here. Danny Garcia is his pick. That is Mendilibar's guy. He is not infallible. And we're not saying we need to fire Mendilibar. Let's be clear about that. But like the fact that we can't talk about Mendilibar, it's the fact that we can't talk about him and we can't say that he's not making mistakes is ridiculous.
One thing I wanted to say is that now that time have passed, I find it more worrying that Mendilibar wanted to keep so many players that won the Conference League, because it kind of shows that he has no plan B for Olympiacos. if he loses key players. And my hot take would be that we should have let go more key players from the Conference League. The two ones being Ortega and Rodinei, because I think we do need better fullbacks to win the league. But my point is, we should ask ourselves, is it okay if a coach that wins Conference League with Olympiacos wants basically to keep the entire squad? For me, no, because it's kind of a danger.
But I think I talked about that on a couple of shows ago, about what Alex Ferguson used to do at Manchester United. You know, he'd have no problem getting rid of his star players after a season where he'd won the league or he's won the Champions League, because after you've reached the top, is very, you know, the only way is down. It's hard to stay there. It takes an incredible amount of dedication and professionalism to maintain yourself at those levels of motivation. Is very difficult. And I think that it's, you know, winning the Conference League, winning a European trophy has been a dream come true for everyone that loves Olympiacos, anyone that's involved with the club. And I won't say that it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, but there's certainly a level of complacency. It's like, we're European champions. We can go about the Greek league in the way that we've gone about it so far. We've dropped points in 4 games. There's one loss away to Aris, who's looking like a solid team in the Greek Superleague this season. The good news in all of this is that I do think it is still early. I disagree that all of the signings are duds from this summer. Costinha is a very good signing for me. I even think Yaremchuk is a player that can come good, but he's clearly lacking on confidence. Has been for a while. Can he turn it around? We'll see. Velda the same. He's a good player, lacking on confidence. Oliveira came in late. He's a good player. Willian, we haven't seen. Is Willian finished? I don't like. I can't believe it, and I can't believe that this same team, this same squad, beat Braga 3-0. It's the same. It's the same set of players. So are they good or are they not?
No, the question should not be that one, but it should be, look at the squad and how many players in this squad do you see able to win a league? Because I want to make a difference between being good player and being able to win a league. And I just want to answer the comment of Rolface. Yes, I do believe Rodinei is not good enough to win the Greek league. Call me crazy if you want. Yes, he is one of our best players. There is no doubt about it. I love his energy. I like the player, but I don't think it's a player that win a league. It's two different things, because winning a league requires to be able to snatch a victory when you're not playing well, when you have to remain to keep a lead, like today 2-0. You don't drop points because you're focused. And I don't blame Rodinei on that. It's the last one I will blame about not winning the league. But I'm pretty sure it does not have that extra thing to actually win a league. And that's what I wanted to say about what you say, Costa, is we have insane quality in the squad, but we don't have players that clicks, if I can say that, to win a league. Like someone like Valbuena, someone like Fortunis, because Fortunis is basically the best example of what is a Super League winner.
I know what you're trying to say. For me, you don't have players like you said, like Valbuena, El Arabi, Rivaldo. Back in the day, Rivaldo would win a league by himself with his left foot. But I personally, I disagree with you about Rodinei.
No, I might be too harsh on Rodinei.
That's a matter of opinion. Like, right, Rodinei's come from Flamengo.
No, on Rodinei, Yeah, I just
Flamengo's
say,
a massive club, man.
yeah, you're right. No, I just wanted to say that maybe we should have let Rodinei go after the Conference League. Maybe that cycle was closed at a time, but it's not bad. I'm not saying it's bad.
I think like long term, Costinha is obviously the guy that's going to be the day in day out right back. But like I feel like, especially in the context of teams that are dropping parking the bus with us, you got to have somebody that can really get forward like Rodinei. Rodinei is leading the league again, by the way, in ball progressions. He leads the Greek league in terms of ball progression in meters measured. Again, he was a leader last year, him, Fortunis, and Retsos, and he's a leader again. And he just was on the CIS football, like one of the best dribblers, fullback dribblers in the world. So
defense will rise me a little bit.
Well, it's but that's where I was getting at next. Like he has all the offensive traits for us, like really to break down these teams. But I think we see Costinha, and Costinha is a little bit more on the defensive side of things. Costinha, I feel a lot better with Costinha there on the defensive side of things. But to be fair to Rodinei, okay, maybe he could have closed down the guy that was crossing the ball on the second goal. But I don't blame him for either one of those goals today.
No, it wasn't about today. It was most an overall opinion.
It's a whole team. Like the whole team just broke down.
Right. It just everybody went down. And in some point, like that's on the players too. Like Mendilibar can't kick the ball for them. You know what I mean? Like you could say that from the get-go, the strategy was effective because we were absolutely dominant. They got no sniff on goal for 40 minutes. And we had all the chances. We're up 2-0. Like on that aspect, what else could you want? It's what happened after the fact. And a lot of that's on the players. Like you have to be motivated. You can't stop. Didn't we learn our lesson before when we were dropping points earlier? And then at the same time, is there an issue with Mendilibar in the players, right? Like is there a motivation issue here? Because obviously we know these players are good. Costa brought up the same players were playing against Braga and they looked fantastic against a team that is levels above what's in Greece. Yet against LEVADIAKOS, they couldn't do it. It's almost entirely a motivational issue here. I'm not going to entertain any comments of people telling me we don't have depth and quality on this roster, because we do. The problem, a lot of it is motivation, and at the same time, it's also the coach's choice for thing. This team can easily win the league if the players actually play for 90 minutes, and two, if Mendilibar actually makes some of the right decisions. Supposedly we're supposed to have this meritocracy where if you're playing really well at training, you're supposed to be playing in the game. That's what all we read about. And we know obviously the media is not always, they say what they want. But when you're seeing guys like Danny Garcia and Stamenic still on the team sheet after this time, and guys like Bakulas can't get a sniff, the young guys who have shown that every single one is hungry when they step up on the field, that's it. That's the problem.
Just a quick word, guys. I'm gonna head to bed because it's getting late here in France. Just wanted to say hi. I don't know. I'm losing my words. Sorry. Just wanted to say.
Go to bed.
Say bye.
Martial ran a half marathon today, and he's very tired. People.
I still love Rodinei, by the way. But my conclusion will be that football is a psychological sport much more than we think. And if we don't assess psychological aspect of the game, there is no improvement that will come. It's not about level. It's not about even me. I'm quite wrong saying that this player is not good enough to win the league. What matters is the psychological aspect of the team, the squad, and I really hope Mendilibar won't lose that. Otherwise, we're getting into trouble.
Do you want to do man of the match coach's grade before we leave, Marcel?
I
know it was a draw, but
man, man of the match of this game would be fuck.
do you want to know who I put in the poll for the audience? Maybe that'll help you.
Maybe Chiquinho? No. El Kaabi?
Chiquinho was in the poll because he scored.
I would say El Kaabi. I would say El Kaabi because he plays with the energy I want some players to play with. Coach's grade would be a massive D for Mendilibar because I'm getting worried.
For a while there, I was like, what?
I love Mendilibar, and I don't want him to be exposed in the league in too many games. But he really needs to react and to understand better the Greek reality. That being said, I still believe in the team. I still would support the team, the players, because we do have quality, and it's still no matter how hard it is to swallow, but it's still October, and we already know that some players on this squad will leave in January. Other player will come because that's Olympiacos, and all that we say during 6 months will be suddenly irrelevant.
Thank you very much.
That being said, bye-bye, guys.
See you, mate.
Good night, buddy.
See you.
Good rest.
Thank you.
A lot of comments in here, Costa. Do you want to
answer?
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, we have been looking at the comments throughout, guys. Sorry, we haven't brought them up, but we are looking at them, and the conversation is going around those comments to a larger or lesser degree. There was one comment earlier from our good friend Lakis Gavalas about the goal, or rather the style of play, and is it a question of the players just not being interested anymore or not hearing the coach anymore?
Yeah.
Again, it's tough to say after 8 games in the league and a win and 1 loss, which, let's face it, like the Lyon game, wasn't expecting to win that one. Would have been happy with a draw, maybe. Even if, Lyon is in a kind of precarious state. They're not the Lyon that they were some years ago. But in terms of the first goal, I mean, I just want to say it was vintage Mendilibar. Yeah. David Carmo from the back, long ball in behind, looking for one of the runs in behind the defense. Velde gets onto it. Chiquinho's running in, gets there in front of the defender, and he scores. Like, it's vintage. It's
literally
like two passes. It's 2 passes and he scored. So It was vintage Mendilibar. It was vintage Olympiacos.
Yep.
So, where did that go after 25 minutes? And we're going, I don't mean to go round in circles in terms of the topics that we've highlighted already, but again, guys, I guess one of the things that we're saying after a game like this, we're all disappointed and everyone's trying to find what's the problem? Why? Is it the manager's fault? Is it the players? Is it the wrong did we make bad transfers? Is it Androutos? Is it Velde? It's a bit of everything, guys. I'm sorry if that's diplomatic and boring for many of you, but it's not just Mendilibar. Yes, Mendilibar has made mistakes today. He said that his players were sleeping on the pitch. It's like, mate, he was having a great dream on the bench too. I don't know what he was dreaming about, but I could say the same for him. The decisions, the subs, and maybe one more thing, Ari. We talked about it maybe before. Retsos has played in the last, was it 3 games, 3 clean sheets. Retsos not playing today, eat 2 goals. So for the Retsos haters.
I think actually I had pulled up a stat that we hadn't lost in Greece. We had, or actually outside of the Lyon game, we hadn't lost since in any game Retsos had played. I have to double check that.
He didn't. I don't think he didn't play against Aris. He didn't play.
No, he didn't play against Aris. No, he did not. But we hadn't lost a game besides Lyon that Retsos had played. And that is a very important, that he is a very important part of this team. And then like leaving out, if he did have a knock, Mendilibar said that, you know, he decided not to use him because with the game coming up, you know, he did one. And I get that. But
Fair
like
enough.
for me,
You don't need
right, you
don't
shouldn't
need
need him
the
against Levadiakos. It's the last place team in Greece. For me, Costa, I'm not going to be as diplomatic. I think we tend to sometimes overanalyze these games a lot. You know, everybody does, right? We look at every person, we try to find blame here and here, and with a game like this, it's not an issue of quality. We know we have quality on the team. I'm not listening to anybody that says we do not. You know, certain individuals and certain actions occurred that completely changed this game, and the management of the consequences is why nothing else happened. We were leading 2-0, dominant for 40 minutes, Costa. Clearly, the team has what it takes. I'm going to say that again because I said it earlier. The problem was the usual suspect, Andreas Doi, made a stupid mistake after already making a stupid mistake. And then what happened after the downward spiral? On that's on Mendilibar and the players together. It's on Mendilibar because he did not find a way to shore things up and keep things moving. He made the wrong substitutions.
This point is ridiculous. He gave them 4 days off.
I forgot about that.
He gave them 4 days off.
Yeah.
Time to tighten the leashes.
A little bit. Yeah. Can't be when you're not playing well, guys. Sorry, that's it. Got to spend some more time. Spend some more time in the gym. Spend some more time running plays. That's it. More time run. That's it. You have to. You're right. But for me, like it's as simple as that, Costa. A really big mistake began to put us on the back foot. And then we did not rise back to the level because, all right, we went down by a goal and we thought, that's all right, we still got this. And that's it. That's when you need players that are hungry. That's when you need players that are know that they're there to fight for a spot. The young guys like Bakulas, Kostulas. You put those guys on there. Those are the ones that are going to come in and more likely turn something over for you. You know you're getting opportunities in those areas around the 18-yard line, Costa, or the 18-yard box, Costa, the penalty box. Use the player that you have that can take advantage of those. Oliveira. Those are my issues. After the point where we suffered the goal because of Ndoye's mistake, we did not take the actions to then rectify the change in momentum. And also, the fact that we still have not learned our lesson about Ndoye is on Mendilibar as well. I'm not going to be diplomatic because that's it. Costa, everything changed with the penalty. We could not shift the momentum back. And we suffered again from Ndoye. How many times do we have to suffer this to know he's not a center back? He's not.
But that's it's nothing new, man. Like, man, I tweeted something after the game. I did one of those Bart Simpson, the Simpsons introduction where Bart Simpson goes up to the blackboard and he writes, "I will not, do something." I wrote, "Ndoye is not a centre back. Ndoye is not a centre back. Ndoye is not a centre back. Ndoye is not a centre back." And everyone's digging into him as well. And man, the comments that I got in response to that tweet, it's like stuff like, "Ndoye isn't for Olympiacos.
Not even a player.
Ndoye isn't a football player. Ndoye is not a professional." And some comments here as well in the chat that Ndoye can't play for Olympiacos. I disagree. Like, I think it's purely a question of using him in the right way. And there is a problem in midfield. Yeah, no, he has value as a defensive midfielder, as a squad player, as somebody that you can play in a game like this, in that position, where he's not, we know that he can be rash in the tackle. We know that he's done that so many times. So it's risky every time he's there. I understand why Mendilibar thinks he can be good there because he's he's aggressive and he can go first to the ball and he can intercept. He's not slow, but he's strong. He can get in front of a player and try and, eradicate the problems before they become problems, win the ball back quickly. But he's not a centre-back, for God's sake. And there's a problem in midfield. There are too many bodies in midfield. And it's early days. It's nearly the end of October, but I just feel like we're not going to get anything out of Stamenic and we're not going to get anything out of Dani Garcia.
Yep.
And Dani Garcia was coming in as a supposed Vicente Iborra experienced player, but
Not even close.
yeah, you may have bought the experience, but you didn't bring the 4 European trophies that he's won as well, that Vicente Iborra had won. So, if that was...
You don't see the presence.
No, you just don't see anything, mate. You don't
There's nothing.
see anything from Dani Garcia. I'm trying patiently, even just every time he gets on the ball, it's like, okay, show me something. Show me something on the defensive end. If experience means that you can bring somebody on and get a yellow card to break up the play, then Andreas Doi can do that as a defensive midfielder. You don't need to bring in Dani Garcia. And that's the point. There are too many bodies in midfield, and you're forcing players like Doi to play as a centre-back in a game like today, and you're forcing Sergio Oliveira to play as a 10, when in reality, neither, Doi's not a centre-back and Oliveira's not a 10.
Right.
So that's a problem. That's a problem in the way, and if there's one area of the park where I look at it and say, we fudged our transfer policy, the way we built the team, it's central midfield. I'm super happy that Christos Mouzakidis is playing. And yes, I said before the beginning of the season that he should be a starter. Is there. But now you don't want to have too much pressure on him. And now the pressure's mounting. I think he can take it. The young boys, I think they can take it. But it's not the kind of position you really want to force them into.
No, you really
forcing Mouzakidis to be the guy today to make something happen. It's not what you want, ideally.
No, it's not. At the same time, though, Costa, the way I looked at this transfer summer was based on some of the players we brought in. I was looking at how we would infuse the youth, right? Now, I didn't expect all 5 of them to be included, but for me, the expectation was primarily Kostoulas, Mouzakidis, and Bakoulas. So the way I saw the pieces fitting in, I was like, look, we've got Mouzakidis, Bakoulas here, plus Hezet, Chiquinho. We have something here. If these players can come together. Then we saw Doi being used early. That was nice. Look, now we have something else. But for some reason, it took so long for us to trust in somebody like Mouzakidis. And we apparently don't trust Bakoulas because we're not using him at all. And we're continuing to try and force square pegs and round holes here. And this is huge. These are huge issues that aren't going to go away. And you can complain about how much we don't have Podence or how much we don't have Fortunis. But even if Fortunis had saved you today, the underlying issues would still be there. They would just be glossed over with a fortunate end of the game goal. And these issues in Greece, they haven't gone away. They're not going away.
The way things are shaping up, the signing of Yusuf Yazigi is going to be pivotal, how he fits into the team, and not just how he fits, but how he's integrated into the system or the way that Mendilibar wants to play. And is Mendilibar, this is a key question for me, is Mendilibar going to show some flexibility in his ways, in the way that he sets up the team? Because I look at Yusuf Yazigi and he's not going to give the press that Chiquinho does in terms of the intensity. He's not going to offer the intensity of a Kostoulas like he did against Panathinaikos, but he's going to bring something else, particularly in the Greek Superleague game, where he is eligible until end of January if we're still in Europe, hopefully. But I qualify that if we're still in Europe. This is key. This is a guy that scored, 10 goals, 11 goals for Lille last season, nearly double digits in assists as well. Yeah. And scored within the first 5 minutes of the friendly he played against Atromitos. yet again, the manager didn't think he was ready to make the matchday squad today. But I'm slightly digressing, but I think that's really crucial. It's really crucial how this player integrates into the team, because we don't, when it gets tough for us, when we're in situations like we were today, when we're having trouble breaking down defenses, how do we do it? Like, how do we do it? There's not. We're lacking a plan B. Plan B at the moment for Mendilibar is get the ball out to the wings and cross it, and there's nothing coming from the center of the park. The Yazigi is a player that can do that for us, but will he be played as a winger? Will he still insist on Chiquinho in the Greek games, or will he start playing Chiquinho deeper? We haven't seen that. We haven't seen that at all this season, have we? Chiquinho deeper in a number 8 role. But also, like, there are other things to look forward to. Like, there's a prospect of seeing Yazigi play with Gelson Martins on the wing and Velde in full form as well. How does having a player like Yazigi change things for Velde's performances? That's a different kind of occupation for a defense when they have to deal with a player like Yazigi as well. It leaves space for others, and that's what Velde craves, is some space to be able to get the ball out of his feet and shoot. And we haven't seen him do that. We haven't seen him do that much. So some things to think about. It's been on a day where it's been quite negative. There are still things to look forward to. It's disappointing today, absolutely. I'm frustrated. I'm pissed off. But it's it could be worse. It could be worse. We're 2 points adrift. Next week we could be top.
Yep.
Depending on results.
It is disappointing that we didn't take an opportunity with the Balk-Ike Derby to get up there. But last season, this exact time, we were on 19 points, and I think today was the game that we lost. We technically lost, quote unquote, to Panathinaikos in this match week. And then we get the -1 point deduction because of the fans. So that's if we're comparing how we've done in past seasons, we're technically 4 points behind where we were last season, with a little bit different context. So and for me, one of the big issues this season also is the press hasn't exactly worked, except for the Braga game. It hasn't worked like it did last year. It's been on a whole less effective. The pressing scheme has been on a whole less effective from everybody. Chiquinho in particular has been a step below this season than he was last season. I mean, we're looking at it on a whole, right?
It's not there. It's not there, Ari. Like I should say I'm in the US right now as well. That's why you see the sun behind me. But I'm sitting in Labros Sirmos' apartment, and I actually watched a little bit of the Conference League final, the Fiorentina game, and bits of the Aston Villa game this morning when I was trying to be, jet lagged and didn't have anything to do. We're not anywhere near the level of intensity of the press. Even maybe the Braga game, it's not anywhere near the terms of like coordination. It was an orchestra. It was an orchestra at the end of last season, the way that we pressed. Everyone did it. And is Christopher Velde doing the press that Podence did? No, he's not. Just again, I was watching the final early today. That the way that Podence was pressing, that quartet that we had with El Kabi, Heze, Chiquinho, and Podence, like the first 4 players, like really pressing up the field, forcing the mistakes and getting the ball back. No, mate, it's nowhere near. And in Greece, where the teams they play the low block, you have to play even harder. Like in terms of intensity, you have to play a higher line. That creates risk too.
Yeah, because we do like to play the higher line.
Yeah,
And when your trap is failing like that, and that's another thing, like even though Santiago Heze has actually by far and away he's had a great season, even he is a little bit less, like his production on the defensive side is less than it was last year. He's not trapping as well. And that's hard when he doesn't have a counterpart next to him that can position well. Because whoever's playing next to him has less interceptions, has less dual wins. Ibora was very good, especially towards the end of the season, in helping close those down and giving Heze some relief. Heze, guys, is having to cover like he did in the first half of the season of last year, all over the place, and that impacts his effectiveness. Now we're relying on him to do everything. Chiquinho also being less effective on the press kills you when he is not able to close down the second ball like he was last year. We're not getting as many opportunities deeper in the field or deeper in the opponent's field like we used to last year. So these are all metrics, and these are all things on the pressing side of things that are not doing as well as they were at the end of last season. So, and these are guys, the core of your press that's the same. Ortega, that's a different, Ortega had another big mistake today that led to a goal. I wanted a left back this summer to compete with him, and apparently
I think we all did. That was a unanimous thought among podcast members, and not only.
Anyway, Costa, we're over an hour, almost an hour and 20 minutes here. We man of the match, coach's grade, wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah. Before that, some questions about Malmö. None of us will be traveling, unfortunately. We're both on the other side of the pond. Labro's also traveling. Right. Unfortunately, no, none of us, Thrillos International guys, will make it out to Sweden. For those of you that are heading out to Malmö, take care of yourselves. If you haven't booked your arrangements already, I would recommend going to Copenhagen and staying there. You can take a train from Copenhagen across to Malmö, and it's probably the safest option as well. I think one of our patrons, Alex Makroyanis, is going to be in attendance. He's going to take some Swedes with him into the Olympiacos end. So yeah, for anyone that is traveling, be safe, and obviously hoping for a good result there. Man of the match, coach's grade. Masura's my man of the match, but it's one of those games like where, if Masuras is man of the match, then with no disrespect to him, but I think that says a lot. I think he gave the effort. He put in some good crosses, and honestly, I couldn't really identify anybody else on the pitch that I thought was putting us in a position to try and win the game, that was trying to lead the team towards something. El Kabi is El Kabi. He needs to be fed. He scored a pen. He missed the point blank header that he should have buried.
Yeah.
Who to pick? Who? So Masuras is my choice. And the manager, we've talked a lot about the manager today. I also give him a D. I think the result speaks for itself. I think that the subs were really questionable, and no Oliveira coming on as well today. So no, it's poor performance today from the team, and both in a big lethargic state, both sleepy, both on the pitch and off the pitch. Looking forward to the next game now.
Yeah, so my man of the match, I'm actually going to go with Chiquinho. The very cool finish on that first goal was a lovely finish, calm, cool, collected. And he did make a lot of mistakes for me today, Chiquinho, but he had a couple of decent deliveries for shots in the penalty area. So he had a couple of those. He didn't win. Again, he didn't win quite as many balls on the defensive side of things that we were used to like last season. But I did think he was pretty active, even if he was at least not doing what I normally would expect him to. But compared to what we saw on other sides of the pitch, I thought that he was I thought he was at least giving a pretty good effort. So I'm going to give him my man of the match, especially because he got the first goal. And for my coach's grade, I'm really stuck kind of between a D and an F for Mendilibar, because I don't like seeing Doy as a center back every time he's on the team sheet. I took issue with that. I was all right with the rest of the way the squad was set up. I was disappointed not to see Yazici or Bakulas in the team sheet. I was disappointed to see Stamenic and Garcia in the team sheet before the 18 came out. And I'm disappointed in the changes. I was happy Costulas came on. I wanted Costulas to come on. His energy is fantastic. And he's an animal out there too. Like, he's very difficult for defenses to deal with, very aggressive. He's pretty strong as well. But again, the same with Martial. Some of these decisions are weird to me. Like, I didn't like Garcia coming on. This was a perfect context for Sergio Oliveira. You don't use him. A lot of disappointing things for me today from Mendilibar. I think we started off great, and then when the stress started to build up, he did not know what to do to react in order to put things back on the right track. And he got it wrong in that respect. You can argue he started off well, but then he got it completely wrong. And that is worse to me, especially given the level of competition, especially when he should have learned his lesson by now in Greece with certain things. So in the end, I think I'm going to give him an F, because I put a lot of this loss on Mendilibar today. I do on the players as well, but I put a lot of this on him. So that's how.
Do we get a response on Thursday?
Get a response on who?
Do we get a response on Thursday?
Well, we better.
What time's kickoff?
That's a really good question. While I'm checking
on
that,
Thursday. Kickoff on Thursday is 3:00 Eastern time, the US. So that would be 9:00 Central European time, 10:00 Greek time.
Okay. So we better get a response for the man of the match poll. Chiquinho barely edged out Masuras, 34 to 31%, with some comments from Muzakitis.
Okay, so we were both right there. Okay.
So
well,
that's all we got for you guys today. Let's hope we're gonna try and get some pre-match stuff done. We're gonna try and get a special guest to talk about Malmo. We're gonna hopefully see something better from the team this Thursday. The schedule coming up until the international break is not easy. It's jam-packed. We play after today, we play 2 more games within the next 6 days. It's a packed schedule, man.
Basketball and football.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of games.
We play Bayern Munich in basketball, and then we have Real Madrid and Barcelona at home in the same week. And football-wise, we're going now to Sweden, and then we come back.
And we're away to Asteras.
And then 3 days later, we've got Galicia, then Panathinaikos at home, then Rangers at home, and then wait for it, we've got PAOK away in Buba, and then international break, and then we play AEK at home.
Yep.
We've got PAOK and AEK back-to-back in the league.
Well, at least the international break separates PAOK and AEK, but dude, the fixture list, literally, man, it's 3 games in 7 days. Seriously, we have today's Sunday, we play again next Sunday. We have 3 games in 7 days, and then after that game, it's another 3 games.
Nothing's given though, mate. We've got Asteras are lying 8th in the table. It's today's just shown that nothing is to be taken for granted. You got to go to Asteras and win after coming back from Malmö, and then you've got to beat Panathinaikos at home.
Dealing with load management again, right? Because the players are in Sweden. They're going to stay. They're getting there early, and they're going to stay They're going to stay the night because Mendilibar doesn't want to exhaust them and travel. But then you're going to play 3 days later, guys. It's crazy. It's he's got to figure something out here. He's got to figure out, trust people that he's not trusting. That's it. And thank you for the comment, George M. He says, guys, thank you because you express your opinions with arguments, not afraid to say many things that here in Greece are not being told easily by many fans or other channels and journalists. Good night. Thank you, George, for the comment. We're always going to share our opinion. Like, we're never afraid to do that, whether it's, there a lot of people this season have been getting upset with us and saying that we're just aligned with the club, but sometimes the opinions align. We were quite critical of the club for a couple of years. And, sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't. It is what it is. We're always going to tell you our honest opinions. We don't know how to do anything else.
Amen.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. This is Thedos International, by the fans, for the fans. Thank you again for everybody that voted. We really appreciate it. And hopefully, we'll see what happens. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're still here and you haven't done so already. I only saw, I think it was like 30 likes, Costa. Yeah, 30 likes and hundreds of you that tuned in. Please hit that like button. Help us find more red and white fans. Interact with us on socials. We're going to throw some stats out there. More stuff's coming, more goodies. And we've been doing tons of giveaways too, guys. So check out socials because there's always giveaways and stuff going on these days.
There's another one coming soon.
And another one's coming soon. You hear it, guys. We're pushing Instagram. We're halfway from 10K to 11K. We're about to hit 7K on Facebook, and we're halfway from 5 to 6K of YouTube subscribers. So, things are just continuing to grow, and we hope they continue to do so. So until next time, guys, this is Thedos International, by the fans, for the fans, and we will see you hopefully on Thursday.